Sell the CBC, at least half of you agree. I'm Lilley with TheRebel.media. It used to be a very lonely game critiquing Canada's state broadcaster, but with CBC failing so badly during this election campaign, I've been getting some company. Kind of like it. And as our new poll shows, about half of Canadians agree with me that we should sell CBC. I'll get to those poll results in a minute, but let me remind you why CBC has been critiqued from people that are normally quite friendly to them. It's because in the middle of an election campaign, CBC refused to show a single English language leaders debate. The Maclean's debate, the Globe debate, the Monk debate. They were all made available to CBC for broadcast, either for free or a nominal fee, a fee much lower than the cost of producing 2 hours of television. But they refused to show a single one. Why? Because they were in a snit. CBC was upset that the Conservatives had said they wanted some variety in election debates rather than just doing the same old boring debate format with the same old boring host on ridiculous-looking sets. The 3 debates that did happen were as well produced as anything CBC and the Broadcast Consortium could have put on. Now, the main private networks deserve criticism for not showing the debates as well, but we don't subsidize those networks with more than $1 billion a year of taxpayers' money. Why do we give CBC that $1 billion if they can't do something as basic as showing an election debate? Now, it's true, they showed one debate. It was in French, and they translated it, but they refused to show the English debates at all. I've seen criticism of this from David Aiken, my old colleague at Sun. David is not now and never has been a CBC hater. Michael Geist is a Toronto Star columnist, and he criticized CBC for failing on this front. The Globe and Mail ran a story. They reached out to CBC News honcho Jennifer Maguire. Why didn't they show the debates? And she said, our position was that they were being broadcast by our competitors. We had no visibility into either the editorial or production pieces of it, and we weren't a partner. You know what? CBC broadcast Rogers Hockey Night in Canada without any say in how things work. But hey, that's not an election debate. I guess it's not as important, right? This is a BS answer. CBC carries all kinds of live events they don't have control over, and that their competitors are also broadcasting. They didn't do this because they couldn't get their way. I said that their failure to do so showed they should be sold off. They don't need to be subsidized anymore. It's time to sell CBC. And thousands of you agreed. You signed our petition. Many of you opened your wallets and chipped in to say you wanted to help fund our poll to see what Canadians think about selling CBC. Most in the media wouldn't dare to ask that kind of question. Why? Well, because they all want to work at CBC or they get regular appearance fees, so it's not really in their interest to talk about selling the state broadcaster. Well, I'm not afraid to talk about selling it, and neither's the Rebel. Neither, by the way, are a whole lot of Canadians. Here's what we put to Canadians using a reputable online panel, demographically balanced to reflect the country. We polled 1,506 adult Canadians on October 7th and 8th, and the results are considered accurate within 2.5 percentage points 19 times out of 20. And here is the actual question we put. Some people say that the CBC should be sold to save taxpayers $1 billion per year. Other people say the CBC should keep being subsidized because it's an important national cultural institution. So that's the statement. And then we asked, which of the following statements is closest to your own point of view? And then people agreed or disagreed. And they said, so they could choose sell the CBC and save taxpayers money, or keep subsidizing the CBC and give them even more money. What did Canadians tell us? They told us that they're divided. 52% said keep CBC and give them more money. And by the way, we asked it that way because that's what Justin Trudeau and Tal Mulcair are promising this election. So 52% agreed with that. I was shocked to see that 48% now say sell CBC. I've been at this a long time. I actually wrote the book on exposing CBC's failures. It's actually called CBC Exposed. But I've never seen support for selling the state broadcaster as high as 48%. When I first asked a pollster to put this question to Canadians, just 33% said sell it. In 2014, Abacus Data polled for me again. It was up to 45% saying sell CBC. Now it's 48%. In Ontario, the split is 50-50. In British Columbia, 52% say sell. In Alberta, 60% say sell. Despite what we're told by our cultural gatekeepers, CBC is not a treasured national asset. Not the one they want it to be anyway. Canadians have mixed feelings on continuing to shovel $1 billion a year at a broadcaster that can't perform basic tasks asked of it by Parliament. CBC can They can't show a debate, but they compete with every newspaper in the country. Not something they're asked to do. They can't show a debate, but they can run a streaming music service to compete with Apple and Google. I mean, I guess if it wasn't for CBC paying royalties and giving away music for free, artists like Eric Clapton and Grand Funk Railroad would never get heard. I mean, really, why on earth is CBC running 8 online pop music channels? I want to thank each and every one of you that signed our petition and donated to the crowdfunding for the poll. Share the poll results with your friends, with your family. Let them know that CBC has failed and that just as many Canadians say sell it as say keep it. And if you've got someone in your family, your circle of friends that gets all worked up about the state broadcaster, well, you can still buy the book CBC Exposed. And if you want it autographed and personalized, that can happen too. You just go to brianlilley.com/shop. And you can get it in time for Christmas. brianlilley.com/shop. Remember, we're on your side.
Ow! We're building a studio. Help us out. Click here or visit buildthedream.ca.